This sucks. This really sucks. And I used to think that other things sucked. Like this one time, I was serving this girl at work, and we were talking about TV shows. And I didn't really want to talk, but she was my last table, only had one table the whole night. So I was talking to her about how I was finishing up Lost. And she proceeded to explain the entire ending, even though I was like, oh, don't spoil it, I haven't seen it yet. And she did. She ruined the entire ending, and then I had to serve her for the rest of the night and act like I thought she was a decent person, when in all reality, she was the absolute worst kind of person, because who does that? And then she went to leave, and she was all like, have fun finishing Lost! And in my head, I'm like, lady, please go jump off of a mountain. But I actually had to be like, yep, I will. Because I still needed a good tip. So I go to get the little bill holder to get my tip. And she signed everything except the little tip part. So Lost was spoiled, and I made like yeah, she ruined Lost, and I made $4.50 that night, and it really sucked. But this fucking sucks. Inside joke. It's pretty funny, actually. I started to write some plays and scripts in college, and my dad, this real southern guy, we moved up to New York when I was like 2, he would always say, oh, yeah, so one day you're going to write a play about me? How terrible of a father I was, win that there the Pulitzer for the best drama. So anytime he would tease me, or we got into an argument, I would say, you know what? This is going in the play. So I said that one day, and he goes, you know what? That's all I want on my headstone. This is going in the play. We made the pact. Either of us dies, and it goes on the headstone. I haven't been able to move on, and it's really weird. It's not how I pictured all this happening. Think about my mom a lot. She's moved on. Move on. Oh my God. Is that fucked up that we tell each other to move on? I mean, we spend our whole lives learning and holding on to all these dead people and their words. We take all these tragic moments from history and we tell each other, never forget. And one day, mom dies, dad dies, son dies, and at some point, you just gotta move on. I don't know. Maybe we pretend we have, but we never really do. I kind of wish I could talk to him. We never got a chance to be at peace. Not that things weren't peaceful, it was just like unfinished business. I don't know what to call it. Things were very confusing. He There were just these little clues that led me to believe he may have been. He never slept with my mom. I would stay up late, and he would come upstairs from these 2 a.m. conversations with his best friend who was living with us. And when my mom and dad did get divorced, him and his best friend rented a house together that we lived in for a few years. His friend would leave for work, and he said the same thing every time. He'd always say, "All right, you go on now, I'm going to text you later." After a while, I got curious, tried to figure out my dad's password, and no luck. I figured out his buddies, though. Thought I'd go for birthdays, and I was right. It was my mom's birthday, which was really weird, you know? They were always texting each other, "I love you, I miss you, you're mine." I called my mom, and she took me out for sushi. I had to tell her how sorry I was. You know, I didn't speak to her for like 3 months. I thought she was crazy. She was always screaming and crying in the house, locking herself in her room. "Yes, be true to yourself." I asked her if I should hate him. You know, if she hated him. I did. But you can't go on hating people forever. I told her I didn't know how to talk to him about all of this. Every time I did go to talk to him about it, he could see it in my eyes. You know, it's like he could smell it on me. And before I even got the chance to ask, he would ask me his favorite question. "You love me?" And that always did something to me. You know? In that second, I thought, yes, of course. Why? Do you love me? I wanted to tell him all the reasons I loved him, how smart I thought he was, how funny and talented he was. Oh my God, this guy destroyed the keys. I mean, you have not heard playing, so you have heard Ben Senior on the keys, and just the magic this guy would come up with on the spot, and he would just go on for hours. It was just so inspiring. But I would just answer with the simple yes. And even though his response to my answer was the same every single time, it still hurt. "You love me?" "Yes." "Can you buy me a pack of cigarettes?" He destroyed the keys. But he destroyed a pack of Marlboro Lights. And the same thing would happen every time. I'd tell him no, and his voice would get real deep, real southern, real loud. "Oh, come on, boy, just go down the road, give me a pack of cigarettes, I'm dying over here." To which I would respond, "Those things are going to kill you." To which he would respond, "Oh, come on now, living is killing me." And then I'd say something like, "Well, let's not speed up the process." And he'd always say, oh yeah, no, that's what you want that there processed feta. And I'd tell him to shut up. And then he'd start to get all pouty, and I'd think about buying them, because I felt bad. He always made sure I felt bad on purpose. Persistent. He was so persistent that at the end of every one of these little conversations, I'd have a 20 in my hand and I'd hear a cheerful, thank you, as I walked out the door. And then I'd come home with the cigarettes, and he said it, and I don't know, maybe that's why I kept on buying them. I love you. He said that every time. He didn't say, thanks, cool, all right, just, I love you. There wasn't a real I love you. I felt those before. When you end a phone conversation with I love you so many times that it just ends up being a new goodbye? Those were his I love yous. Our new goodbye is empty. Oh, speak of the damn devil! February 14th, 2010, 11:46 p.m., pronounced dead. Cause of death, fear. I don't think I wanted to be like him at his worst, and I had no idea who I was. It's funny. When I was alive, oh my God, it would be a miracle if I could just get 10 minutes with this guy, just hanging out, just really hanging out. A miracle. And now he comes here every week. It's pretty sweet. I just wish you would talk. If I had a choice, I'd go back. Maybe 4th grade. Old enough to hang out with all the kids from my block, just parentless, and young enough to be tucked into bed. We always sang that Sun song before I went to bed. I love this shit. I think I can type this. Oh, yeah. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine. next time you say I love you, mean it. Be true to yourselves, to each other, because one day all this is going to fade. And if you weren't true to yourself, that would really suck.
So we have a few minutes left at the end. So I had a few questions for you guys about your presentations and your research processes. So as a simple starting point, what do you feel was the key for you to unlocking or starting your process of developing your presentations?
Mine was after I was asked to write something for this, and I kind of knew that I wanted to tell the story, and I was watching actually a Sam Shepard documentary, and he had said that when he kind of went to that dirty area that he thought was dirty, it was just a place that he didn't really want to go, that he was kind of scared of. That's when, for him, it was the family. That's when he kind of became a lot more free in his writing and whatnot. So that was kind of where I chose to go in this area, just kind of a place that I didn't completely want to go to, but that I, probably should take a risk and go to. So yeah, then from there, the writing began.
Now, interesting thing about the three of you guys coming together was that you all are presenting on minority literature, essentially, in varying forms and identities. Now, in your research, did you feel like that when looking at the history of minority literature in your respective fields, that it in some way, shape, or form carried a different responsibility of what you wanted to convey about that group?
Interestingly enough, those questions are coming now that the piece is finished, because I kind of just let this person spoke, let this, let the character speak, let the story unfold, and now that it's completed, I'm kind of like, wow, I want to do more research on this topic, on these people, this minority, the research, I not to say that I was fortunate, but I didn't really need to do a whole lot of research for this story. It kind of came about and grew organically, and not obviously, but it came with some of my past and whatnot. But now, yes, that it is completed, I'm kind of looking at it and going, I'd like to do more research on this topic, so yes.
So I think we have time for one more question. So now, each of you guys researched, developed your presentations, but then we added in a whole other layer in that you had to then perform your creations. And I've been writing plays since I was a little kid. I hate acting, but inevitably as a writer, you realize you at some point have to perform your writing. Now, how do you feel your process either was challenged or changed when you went from being the writer-researcher to the performer in that role?
Something that I've always found cool about acting in particular is that, a lot of times people talk about looking at life through a different lens, through this character's lens, through, just a different set of eyes. So I think in terms of writing to performing, it's just that, it's the different lens, so you look at the lens of the piece through, I guess, not necessarily how like a writer would, because I wouldn't consider myself, I don't know, but yeah, how maybe like a writer would, and then you would look at the piece at how an actor would, in that sense. So I think it's just about different lenses.
Thank you to all three of you. You did remarkable jobs in your research and your presentations today. I hope everyone has a good rest of the conference and that you do attend some of the other panels that are going on. It is a great opportunity to network, get to know some people, and to be exposed to some different types of research. So thank you and have a nice day, guys.